In 1775, the Continental Congress created the Chaplin Corps. Under the command of General George Washington, each soldier was required to attend worship service every Sunday. While other armies advanced on their feet, Washington's troops advanced on their knees. It's time for the Chaplain's Report with Caleb Colquitt on tactics.
Chaplin's report today comes from the book of Ecclesiastes, and I actually covered this yesterday in my Bible class. It's a very striking verse from the wisest man who ever lived, of course, King Solomon. So let's go ahead and look at Ecclesiastes 1, 7 through 11. 7 through 10. All the rivers flow into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To place where the river flows, there they flow again. All things are wearisome. Man is not able to tell it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor is the ear filled with hearing. That which has been is that which will be, and that which has been done is that which will be done. So there is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which one might say, "See, this is new"? Already it has existed for ages, which were before us. And this spills a little bit over into the idea that it was talking about earlier about homosexuality, and just because something has been practiced in the past doesn't mean that it's a good idea to practice in the future. The truth is there are no new problems. There are no new problems. There are old problems that take different forms. For example, the way that we're engrossed in technology, the way that we are engrossed in worldliness now, those are not new problems. They are new forms of old problems. And because of that, ancient texts like the Bible can give us a way to help understand those problems and hopefully to help give us a grasp on how to resolve them as well. And so the outside observer may look at this and see Solomon's poetry about the rivers flowing into the ocean, but the ocean never fills, and the ears hear things all the time, but they're never filled with hearing, and say, is Solomon going a little bit nihilist on me? Is he saying that nothing matters? That's not what Solomon is saying at all. What he is saying is, you have to have a little bit of perspective when it comes to these things. He's not saying that none of it matters. He's saying just keep in mind that you are not the center of the universe. That no matter what you do in your life, the rivers are still going to flow into the ocean. People are still going to be talking. Things that you do will be forgotten. And things that people that do after you will also be forgotten by them. And so he's not saying that none of it matters. What he is saying is, just keep in mind, not everything centers around you. And the advantage of having hindsight and being able to look at the end of his book when he goes through all these vanities and all these other ideas of the things that we do, the labor that we put forward, doesn't really change the fundamental structure of the world. He says what will change that, what will change you and what will change others, is believing in God, following Him, serving Him, and obeying His commandments. That is what makes a difference in us and makes a difference in the world. And more importantly, makes a difference eternally. It makes a difference to us spiritually. See, Solomon is contrasting the physical world with the spiritual duties we have to God. He's saying, despite all of our labor, despite everything we do, we may do some great things, but eventually people are going to forget about them. Eventually people aren't going to be thinking about them, and the world is not really going to change all that much by us doing them. But if we can change a heart or mind, if we can lead that mind closer to its God, closer to Jesus, then that is something that has a profound effect in the universe. That is something that has a profound effect on them and on us and our station in life. And so let us be primarily focused on the spiritual. Because like Solomon says, there are no new problems, which is a comfort to us in many ways. It means that there are already people that have dealt with it before, which means we can empathize with them. And it means that there are problems, or there are solutions to these problems that we can implement as well. And so it allows us to have a connection to people that have lived before and people living around us today. Because if we think about it and say, the problems I'm dealing with, there are other people that have that problem too. And maybe what I ought to do is I ought to go out and help them and see maybe if they can help me as well. And that's going to lead to a far more productive way of dealing with an issue. And remember, that, as Solomon asserted, the whole duty of man is to serve God, to love Him, and to follow His will. And if we do that, a lot of these problems that we're experiencing, a lot of the things that seem vain and seem empty to us, will find our real meaning in serving Him. Stay the course, friends.